Hello everyone! In this tutorial I'm going to be teaching the absolute beginner crocheters a few important crochet basics to start their journey in the crochet world. We will be learning how to hold the hook, hold the yarn, make a slip knot, make a chain, to single crochet, end your work, and weave in ends. Be sure to take your time with this video. Use the pause button and practice one skill several times. After you have completed this video and feel confident with your skills, check out my easiest worsted hat ever and easiest worsted scarf ever to make your first hat and scarf. Thanks for watching! Now let's get started. To begin crocheting, you will need yarn, a crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and a wool or yarn needle with a large eye. Today I'll be using this eye 5.25mm crochet hook. The yarn I'm using is an acrylic worsted weight yarn, and I highly recommend worsted weight acrylic yarn for beginners. When choosing yarn at the store, the label will have all of the information you need to see what kind of yarn it is. So here it says 100% acrylic, and then here medium 4 is a worsted weight yarn. And then they also have a recommended hook size. Let's start by learning how to hold our yarn. You want your yarn ball to always be on the side where you're not going to be holding your hook. So for me, I'm going to be holding my hook in this hand, and you want your yarn ball to be on the other side. So usually people hold their hook in their most dominant hand, and I'm going to take the tail of the yarn, which is the cut end right here, and I'm going to hold it like this. And then with our other hand, we're going to practice holding the yarn. So we want to go over the yarn like this, and then you're going to scoop up the yarn with your pinky and ring finger. Then our middle finger and thumb is what's going to be holding our crochet work once we start. Our first finger here is going to be in charge of tension, but first we have to scoop up our yarn. So you're going to rotate your hand forward and scoop up the yarn like this. So again, let's grab our yarn. Now we're ready to learn how to hold the hook. Now there are many different ways to hold your hook. For me, I like to use the knife hold. My pinky and ring finger are going to hold the back of the hook like this, and then my thumb and middle finger are going to be on the flat part of the hook. And then my first finger will be available right here like this. This is a very important way to hold your hook because you want to be able to roll it on your fingers like this, and also use your first finger to hold the yarn on the hook if necessary. As your muscles get more accustomed to holding the hook, it will become much easier and more natural for you. Now that we know how to hold our hook and yarn, I'm going to show you how to make a slip knot. You've got your working yarn, which comes from your ball of yarn like this, and then this would be the tail of the yarn. Make sure the tail of your yarn is nice and long. You're going to place your hand over your yarn like this. You're going to wrap the yarn over the top of your hand, up from the bottom of your hand, and cross it over past your thumb. Next, you can either put your fingers under the yarn like this and grab the tail and pull it through, or you can grab your hook, go under that cross here, grab the tail of the yarn like this, and pull like this. And then you just keep pulling until you've created a slip knot. And then of course, we can just adjust the size of the slip knot by again pulling that tail. If this knot here seems a little bit too loose, you can hold the slip knot like this and pull the working yarn. That tightens the knot here. Now that we've made our slip knot, we can go ahead and grab the hook. Once your hook is on the slip knot, you can make your slip knot just a little bit smaller. Be sure your slip knot is not too small because you want your hook to be able to come out of the slip knot. Next, let's make a chain of 9. Again, we're going to grab our yarn how we've been practicing. With my thumb and middle finger, I'm going to grab the slip knot. Then hold your hook just how we've been practicing. From here, we're going to yarn over and pull through our working yarn. This is called our working yarn. This yarn right here that's attached to our yarn ball. Start by rolling your hook so the hook is in the up position like this. Then to yarn over and pull through, you're going to roll the hook away from you against that working yarn like this. Then roll it forwards and grab that working yarn. Continue rolling it until the hook is in the down position. Then we're going to pull it through the slip knot. So there we have chained 1. This loop on your hook never counts as a chain. Let's chain again. So my hook is in the up position. Roll the hook away from me. Grab the yarn by rolling it towards me. Keep rolling it until it's in the down position, and then pull the working yarn through the loop on the hook. So now we have 2 chains. The chains make this V shape like this. Let's continue chaining. So now we can count our chains. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Each chain is made up of 3 loops. We have a top loop, a bottom loop, and then this loop right here, which is a back loop. It makes this bump on the back. Keep chaining until you have 9 chains. Now that I have 9 chains, we can begin learning the single crochet. Remember, if you want to just chain and make a whole bunch of chains, this is a great way to get your hands used to holding the yarn and hook. It's also a great way to learn how to count our chains and stitches. The single crochet is used in a lot of different patterns and is a great first stitch. To single crochet, you're going to insert your hook into the second chain from hook. There's 1 V, 2 V. Into this V, we're going to place our first single crochet. So you're going to insert your hook by grabbing just the top yarn of the chain. Then grab your yarn, and I'm going from the underside and just grabbing it with my hook and pulling up a loop. And now it creates 2 loops on the hook. Now that we have 2 loops on the hook, we're going to yarn over again. Making sure that hook is in the down position, we're going to pull through both loops on the hook here. And that is our first single crochet. Let's single crochet again. Insert your hook into the chain, then we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. I have 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull that yarn through both loops on the hook. There we have 2 single crochet. And you can count them by the V's on top here. Continue single crocheting until we get to the very end. See how I'm holding this yarn on my hook with my first finger? And here we are into our last chain. So now we have 8 single crochet. We had a chain of 9, and then we used one of those chains as a turning chain. And again, you can count your V's. Now we can begin row 2, which is a repeat row. The repeat row you can use and practice until your work is as long as you want. You want to chain 1 and then turn your work. So you're going to take it and flip it forward like this. This chain 1 here does not count as a stitch. In some patterns it does, but in this pattern it does not. Now this is the back side of our single crochet, and you can see it looks very different than the front. We're going to single crochet into the top of our first stitch. So if you're looking from the very top like this, you're going to see the V from our chain 1 here. And then you're going to see the second V here. So this is from our last single crochet. This is the V that we're going to be placing our hook into. If you're looking at it from this position, you can see this space right here is where we're going to be placing our hook. So taking our hook, I'm going to hold that loop on my hook with my first finger like this. Insert your hook into that space, and it's going to be the top 2 yarns of that last single crochet. Then grab your yarn and pulling up a loop. I have 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, and pull through both loops. That's our first single crochet. Place a single crochet into each one of these stitches all the way down. If you pull your work apart like this, you can see there's a lot of different spaces for your hook to go into. It's going to be this space on top of the stitch right here. If you've messed up a stitch, you can pull your hook out like this, and then just gently pull the working yarn and pop the stitch out. Then place your hook back into the loop and continue single crocheting. The last stitch on your row is going to be a little tricky, as it tends to take this rounded shape here, like this. If you look from the top of your work, see it's right there, but if you look from the side, it's this round shape. So you want to make sure and place your hook into that last stitch. There is row 2 complete. Be sure to continue practicing counting your stitches, as this will make sure that your work stays nice and even. Now we're just going to repeat that row 2. Here I have made 8 rows and it makes the perfect little square. Now you can cut your working yarn. Make sure you always have a good long tail to weave in ends. My favorite way to finish off is to grab that tail and pull it through the loop on my hook and tighten it down like this. To make your work look nice and neat, you want to weave in ends. So I have my wool needle here, so you just want to weave in and out of your work. Once you feel your tail is securely woven in, you can cut that tail. Congratulations! You've just made your first crochet project. Practice is key to anything, and for sure with crochet. Crochet is definitely a muscle memory, so as you use your hands more for this, you will find that crochet is becoming easier and easier. Good luck in your crochet journey. Thank you so much for watching, commenting, liking, sharing, and subscribing. Have a lovely crochet day, and I hope to see you again in my next tutorial. Bye!